We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức thẳng thinh, vì thứ pháp hội cập nhật thiết chúng sanh, tịnh chuyên diệu phạm luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc là tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sadanto Suchedoye Elahudi Samyao Sanputo Sie. Namo Taknakta Toya Daya Lahade Tamil Tambo Datoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jie wen de shou ci yuan jie ru lai zhe shi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Qing Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good known advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、清凉大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thái Nương Đại sư, Thượng Thiện Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sư tất cả như đạo Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 5th of January 2025. We're here at DTT to continue discussing the first chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra. This chapter here introduces us to the world rulers, the big shots in the universe. They are actually Mahasattvas who chose to return to the world to help out, to help the Buddha out. All right, we're on slide 842, and thank you all for coming. Let's jump right into it. This is a section where it describes the verses uttered by the celestial princes of the moon. So this is the last heavenly areas at the level of the moon and the sun, and the second desire heavens. And next section will be Gandharva, which is a lower level heavens. Okay, I think. The thus come one shows them the door of the Dharma nature, peace and joy beholds and reflects upon this.
如来是彼法性门，安乐思维如是见。
All right, as context, this each of the celestial prince of the moon would say a 4-line verse, a gatha. And the first half of the gatha says, sentient beings do not have the peace and bliss of the sages, and because they're submerged, they drown and confused on evil path, they have to endure all sorts of sufferings. Okay, so you have here in this verse here the contrast between this natural state that you are supposed to have. Okay, if you reconnect with your wisdom nature, your Buddha nature, you should have the peace and the bliss of the sages. But no, ordinary people, they're submerged. They barely are surviving. They're submerging. They are confused. I don't know why we have submerged and drowned at the same time. We should correct it. Me is confused, so there's no need for drowned. Okay, they're submerged and confused on evil paths, and they endure all sorts of suffering. So you have here a contrast between the people who have wisdom, they will know peace and bliss. And that's what you are learning. You are learning, you're experiencing more and more peace and bliss. So you're graduating to the sages level. When you get to that level, to the sages, meaning at least 4th stage Arhat, then you will be able to experience peace and bliss at will. You can develop that skill, so that when you re-enter the world where people are submerged and confused and are creating seeds for them to fall to the evil paths, many seeds, and that's why they're suffering. They've been doing this. Ordinary living beings have been doing this since beginningless time. So that's why most of us are more likely to fall to the evil paths and continue this spiraling down to the world of suffering and the world of confusion. Okay, it's not flattering to ordinary people, but these sages, remember, these verses are spoken from the Buddha to the Bodhisattvas. So they're not afraid to offend them at all. Actually, they're telling them this is why we are supposed to be cultivating. Okay, and that's why they are supposed to find the living beings who are confused and who are treading in evil paths and enduring all sorts of suffering, and help them like we're doing here at Bodhi Light International. Help you experience more peace, more bliss incrementally. Or if those of you who have more blessings, you'll be taught the sudden Dharma, where you'll be able to leapfrog from suffering into the state of the peace and the bliss of the sages. So far, so good. Okay? This is why we're doing this, folks. Never lose sight of this. Okay? This is the main purpose of this madness. And now we are aware today's slides, where when the Buddha realizes that, he sees a contrast between the state of sages, the life of the sages, versus the lives of ordinary living beings. Okay? Ordinary living beings, they don't know better. That's why they don't try to get out. They accept the fact that from the moment they're born until their time of death, they're so used to suffering. Because in a prior life, they were also in the wheel reincarnation as well. And they were confused, they were submerged, and they were treading on evil paths, enduring all sorts of suffering. So lifetime after lifetime, ordinary living beings experience this kind of suffering. So they're used to it. So when they're born and take on the next body, their mindset is such that they don't try to get out because they've been doing it for so long that they don't know better. So that's why the Buddha realizes that. So he came to our world and endured all sorts of sufferings in order to show us, all of us, the door of the Dharma nature. Okay? So what is this door of the Dharma nature? The door of Dharma nature is, door here refers to Phàm is a Dharma door of the Dharma nature. And so Dharma door refers to a method of practice, the method of practice of the nature. What is the method of practice of the nature? The nature refers to the Buddha nature. Okay, so the Dharma door of the nature, the Dharma door of the Buddha nature is this set of Dharma doors that will reunite you with the Buddha nature, reconnect you with the Buddha nature. All right? It's based on the Buddha nature, and its purpose is to help you reunite with your Buddha nature. I'm looking at the people in the back, I say, oh yeah, my Buddha nature sounds good. Yeah? I can't hear you. Okay, so that's what Buddhas do. They come to our world in order to show us these methods of practices that will help us reconnect with our Buddha nature. Because ordinary people, they're disconnected from a Buddha nature, their Buddha nature, and therefore they're confused. Therefore they're submerged. And therefore they are enduring all sorts of sufferings. And when they are supposed to, if they were to practice the Dharma doors of the nature, of the Buddha nature, they will experience more peace and more bliss. Can't be clearer than this. Okay? And so, believe me folks, this peace and joy, celestial prince of the moon, he contemplates this because he watches Buddhas, Shakyamuni Buddha, in many lifetimes, coming to our world to do that. And then he also contemplates all the Buddhas who also came to our world as well. This our world actually has many, many Buddhas who would come to our world to help out. Okay? Because each Buddha in their path of practice, in their Bodhi ground, when the ground where they cultivated their Bodhi nature, the Buddha nature, they cultivated enlightenment, they have some conditions with us. So therefore, conditions meaning that maybe they were given some incense offerings, okay? Maybe some living beings bowed to them, okay? Maybe some living beings just recited their names, okay? Maybe some living beings listened to their names and learn about the Buddha Dharma. So we created, just like we've been doing, we're creating a lot of affinities with many Buddhas. Okay, and that's why they would come to us. And that's what this peace and joy Mahasattva, he contemplates, okay? And that's what he can see. He contemplated the behavior of the Buddhas, and of course, the only way for him to be able to contemplate this is it's because he received help from Shakyamuni Buddha. And so, which enable him to observe and penetrate and the behaviors of the Buddhas. Without the Buddha's help, we cannot possibly peek into their worlds. Okay, so this is a proof that this peace and joy, Mahasattva, receive help from Buddha in order to speak these verses. And so he contemplated that, okay, and then that's what he saw when he meditated. He said, what is it? Shakyamuni Buddha, what does he do to help living beings who are suffering experience the states of the sages? And he saw that Shakyamuni Buddha repeatedly, he came to our world thousands of times. He said in the Lotus Sutra, he said, I came to the Saha world 8,000 times already. 8,000 times is many, many times. You can't, you lose track. But he said, I've been here 8,000 times already to cultivate and help living beings by showing them the door of the Dharma nature. Okay? All right, Wei Mountain has a question.
Thank you, Master. For the living beings that are described in the commentary who are submerged and who have been trapped and suffering lifetime after lifetime, what is the cause? What is the moment of inertia that helps them stop being submerged so they can encounter the way?
Good question. I don't know. Let me contemplate. Can we just stick to what the verses say and not deviate too much? So, what is the catalyst that will enable people to stop being confused, being submerged in the evil paths, and try to get out? What's the catalyst, right? Most excellent question. Let's call on some help to see if our collective wisdom can come up with a reasonable answer. Yeah, it's so American. The Asians would never ask this. The Asians say, oh, how wonderful. But American, yeah, how, man? Yes, Wei Mountain. That's why speaking Dharma to Americans, you better not have any Americans in the audience. Stick to Asians. Yes, go ahead.
So you said that the natural way, the most natural state of being is being calm and peaceful. So that being said, there is no catalyst whatsoever that brings us from a state of delusion to a state of enlightenment, because that enlightenment is already existing. So just by us existing, that's the original catalyst for us to get to enlightenment.
Okay. So this gentleman here is also not Asian, if you haven't noticed. He's of the opinion that based on, I will add this commentary for him to help clarify his point. Based on the concept of a certain teaching, there's no need for a catalyst. Yeah, because right then, if you simply realize that your Buddha nature is actually at peace and is at bliss, that's all you have to do. Okay, and then you will experience it. Is that what you're saying, sir? He has to disagree.
You made it sound a lot cooler, Master. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in a good mood, so I'm being polite and complimentary to people. normally I'm manic, so I'm attack and I show my aggressive nature. Okay. However, let me point out to you, the point here is that currently, original question is, currently I am submerged. Currently, I am confused. Currently, I'm creating boundless seeds, okay, boundless causes for me to fall into evil paths at the end of this life and in future lives. That's a matter of serious concern for me. Okay? So when this Buddha and his disciples came to the world and tell us that you should be in a state of peace and bliss like the sages, okay, that because you're entitled to that, you're supposed to be like that. What is the catalyst that will trigger the change? Okay? What is a change element? Let's not use catalyst anymore. Okay? What is a change element? What is a trigger that made it happen from a state of confusion and suffering to a state of ordinary people to the state of the sages who are very peaceful? See? Look at yourself. You experience some peace already, and you experience some bliss already. The sages are even better than that. Okay? Far better than that. Okay. So what does it take to go from confusion, suffering, okay, and falling, spiraling down, lifetime after lifetime, and versus going to experience right now a state of peace and bliss? What is the trigger? What is the change element that makes it happen this lifetime? Okay? It's there. But what do you need to get there? And that's the next half of the Gatha. It says, the Buddha shows us the method of the Buddha nature that will bring us there, from ordinary living being states to the state of the sages, suffering to peace and bliss. So there's a Dharma door a method called the Dharma door of the Buddha nature. That's the trigger. Is that clear? Okay. But it's more. There's more to it. Yes, JMT. In the nature of the question, he says, wait a minute. You're telling me about this Dharma door of the Buddha nature. Can you tell me more? Yeah? And that's why I said, the Asians would never ask. They say, oh, wonderful, it's Dharma door, Buddha nature. But the Westerners, they say, tell me more. Please tell me more. Okay. So it's a reasonable question. Yes, JMT. JMT has the answer. Lucky for us.
고통을 견디면은 바뀌지 않습니까?
I love those one-liners.
Just enduring suffering, the pain, doesn't it make changes?
Enduring the suffering, is that a Dharma door or the Buddha nature, you think? Because remember, this context is that from suffering, from confusion, from being submerged in the evil path, you go to the state of the sages of peace and bliss, no more suffering. Peace and bliss is that, it's no more suffering, okay? And you feel peaceful. You're not submerged. You no longer are confused. And it feels very blissful, okay? It feels good, if you will. So to go from there to there, there's a method called Dharma doors of the Buddha nature, Dharma doors of the nature. So the answer, does it mean that to endure the suffering is a Dharma door of the nature? You agree? If you interpret the answer, that's what it means. Okay? Is enduring suffering a Dharma door of the nature? Yes or no? Isn't it beautiful? Just a 4-line verse gatha. And if you spend the time to look into it, it is so profound. Anyone, would enduring the suffering help us understand the Dharma door of the nature? Anyone? YouTube has a question. Wade Mountain has a comment. Okay, let's go to Wade Mountain comment. Maybe we have an answer.
Thank you, Master. I believe the answer is no.
No. Categorically, no. Why not?
Because there's a difference to me between enduring depression, enduring injuries, and enduring the pain of crossing your legs. Because Chan is a tool that I discovered. And the root cause of discovering Chan, the catalyst, the change agent, as you so eloquently put it, is really what I'm asking about. I don't think you're going to discover Chan simply by enduring suffering.
Okay.
For myself, I had to look for something.
Okay.
But I don't know why.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else? Is Wade Mountain still have a comment about? Yeah, go ahead. The other non-Asian person.
Yeah. So, the concept of the Dharma door, it makes sense. But then, if there's a Dharma door, then there's also an undharma door. If our original true nature was already the good stuff, that means we just keep walking through the undharma doors, which means all we got to do is stop walking through those undharma doors.
Okay. Okay, young man. Because you're not Asian, I'm going to give you a direct answer to that. Okay? If you're Asian, I would not. I would be very polite and say, you are right, you are right. Yes. But young man, what you're talking about is sophistry. Intellectual debate. Sophistry. Okay? You say, you keep on debating back and forth. Okay? No. I disagree with you. It's called sophistry because that's what a lot of people, what they do is they read a lot of books, like scholars. They read books, but they never meditate. They read books on Buddhism. They spend many, many years, many decades studying the text and the literature like scholars are supposed to do. Okay? So they've seen this. For example, some of them might have seen this text says showing Dharma door of the door of the Dharma nature, and they only read about it, but they never practiced it. So when they argue, they say, okay, this section here is talking about Dharma nature, but in the other sutra, Hinayana Sutra, for example, they said, there's no need to Dharma nature. You simply contemplate kindness and compassion. Okay? And and they simply are arguing about concepts, And that's called sophistry to me. Okay? Because it's just words, that's all. When the Buddha shows living beings the door or Dharma nature, it's actually what it really means is that you need to do this in order to experience peace and bliss. And what happens is that unless you do it, you never experience it. If you never experience it and you keep on debating, it's called sophistry. That's why for us professionals, okay, one look at you. When you talk about, I think the Dharma door of the nature, then you should also have a Dharma door of the non-nature, the unnature. Intellectually, that's correct. But that's not how you understand. First of all, do you understand? Have you experienced the Dharma door of the nature? If you have experienced it already, then we'll teach you the Dharma door of the unnature. There is a sequence before you can really understand the concept of the Dharma door of the nature, and you can experience it. You see? My point, sir, young man, is that the Buddha shows them a door of the Dharma nature because that's what they need to go through first. Before then, because this is referring to what the Buddha teaches ordinary people. Is that clear? He teaches ordinary people in order for them to experience the peace and bliss of the sages, they have to practice these practices of the Buddha nature, whatever they are. Okay, and once, so that's what he says. For ordinary people, they need to do that. But for sages, they can also then learn the Dhamma door of the unnature, if you will. Okay? So until after you experience the peace and bliss from the Dhamma doors of nature, then you graduate to higher levels. Okay? So that's why I call it sophistry. That's why when I look at people, when I listen to people questions and their argument, I look at this, do you know what you're talking about? Unless you know what you're talking about, it's no point arguing with you. Yes, Way Mountain, comment.
Hello, Master. I just wanted to point out in the sutra they say 如来 xian shu. I think that there needs to be a person. Whatever that we cultivate, there needs to be a person that pointing those out to us. So I think that in our path of cultivation, we need a guidance. We need a person that pointing out where we're supposed to go. And whatever that person pointing out to us, if we do that, we will experience the peace and bliss. So in this case, it's the Duskham one, but since we don't have him right now, we can rely on the good knowing advisor to show us the way.
Good point. Precisely. In order for you to be able to understand, and this is related to the original question, what is a trigger? What is a change element? What is a catalyst that help us go from ordinary state of ordinary people, to the state of the sages? And the question here is exactly it. The answer is exactly it. The Buddha himself had to show us how to do it. He showed his disciples. He taught. He brought, for example, the first five bhikshus who were working very hard, who were practicing a lot of non-Buddhist Dharma doors, and they're going nowhere after practicing very hard for a very long time. So he came and he spoke Dharma to them, and that's how he showed them the door of the Dharma nature. So yes, the answer is that it's beautiful. It's very simple gatha here, he shows what is the best way to learn the Dharma door nature. You learn it from the Buddha, if he's still alive. If not, you learn it from a good knowing advisor, which is the essence of Mahayana practices. Okay? Yes, 4.
Thank you, Master. I also think that accruing blessings is very important.
That's part of it as well. Absolutely. Even if the Buddha shows you the Dharma door of the Dharma nature, the door of Dharma nature, and if you did not have enough blessings, you would not be interested. When the Buddha says, you're suffering so much, would you like to change that? And for many of us, it says, no, I don't. Who are you? Why should I trust you? You poor, you are bald. The Buddha, when he was alive, was he bald? No, I don't think so. Anyway, you poor, you are, no, he's not short either, like Master YongHua. I don't know, okay? You dress funny, your clothes are so cheap, you don't drive a supercar, so how can I trust you? You have what accomplished? What have you accomplished? How much money do you have? You have properties. If you have no money, do you have properties in the Hawaii island? Because my friend has 1,000 acres there, and he's building a basement. Okay, so you see, if you don't have the blessings, you will not believe the teachings. And that's absolutely true. And therefore, that's why when we talk about this, part of the door of the Buddha nature is to create blessings as well, as a catalyst. Okay? Yeah. Very good. YouTube has a question.
YouTube has a couple suggestions. Robin's Nest says or suggests that the catalyst comes from prior lives. And Alicia says, all tools are created to fix a problem that was once had without enduring. You may not know the tool needed to fix or eliminate the problem.
That's right. Okay. They're both correct. You see, you know too much. Yes. K YouTube comment.
네, 보라선은 이승남입니다. 질문할게요. 법성문 안에 성인들께서 느끼는 안락과 일반 신도들이 느끼는 편안함과 어떤 차이가 있나요?
So, Master, this question from Ju Kang, Isungnam. So I have a question. What would be the difference between sages' peace and joy versus the ordinary people's peace and bliss? What is the difference?
Okay. Fair question. Okay. The sage's peace is that they feel peaceful no matter what happens outside. Inside, peace refers to their mind, their heart is at peace. People may be yelling at them, maybe screaming at them, maybe hitting them, maybe berating them, maybe slandering them. All those things, whatever happens outside, even someone here in a DTT neighbor would turn on very loud music. That's what happened at Go Force. On Saturday night, in my room, I could hear the mariachi music until 1 a.m. And I pretend to be a sage, peace and bliss. I never complained. But inside, I said, say what? This must be Saturday night. The sages, if the mariachi music goes on, and there's a neighbor in the back, by the way, and not the front. You guys can't hear it. You have to be in the Mauve house or in my house to be able to hear it. And so the peace of the sage is that it's very strong. No matter what happens outside, they're still at peace. In contrast, for ordinary people, they are still affected by the outside. Okay? So they may feel like, oh, I'm at peace with my wife today. Okay? I feel like that we have this beautiful love together and we have built this life together. Now I learn to appreciate it. Okay? I think she's the most wonderful person. Okay? And then she walks in and asks for a new set of washer and dryer. And you say what? Why are you spending so much money? You know how hard times are. You know, I'm worried about losing my job. Here you are thinking of spending more money when we don't need it. Master YongHua says, this holiday season, stop spending money and give money to Master Xuanhua's temple for him to build his temple. Okay? And so what happened is that the peace of ordinary people is very fragile. Okay? It doesn't take much external stimuli to break it. Where the sages, when they are at peace inside, no matter what you do, okay? Mariachi music, people yelling at them, wife coming for a new set of washer and dryer, say, yes, honey, let's go buy you a washer and dryer. I feel my heart is full of love today. You see? And that's the difference, okay, between ordinary people and sages, the peace right there. What about the difference between joy and bliss? Okay? Joy to ordinary people is passing. It's very short-lived. Okay? Number one. The duration, the change, the difference is that the joy that ordinary people experience is short duration. You take a sip of the glass from a glass of wine. It feels good. Okay? And you put it down. Okay? It won't be long. It will be like a couple of minutes before you take another sip because you want to experience that joy again. That might prove right there that your joys are very short durations. We agree? Okay? And that's the first difference. The bliss of the sages can last much longer, can last the peace there and that bliss there, they can last much, much longer. They can last for half an hour, 2 hours, days, months. I won't go further than that because you're ordinary people. If I do go longer, it would be bragging. Okay? So there's a difference in duration. Okay? Now, the second difference is that the joy is an addiction. Because you like it, you are attached to the experience. You want it again and again and again. And when your sensors become numb, then you have to look for another joy to replace it. So it creates attachment, and actually the joy there is a source of future suffering. Whereas the bliss that you experience does not, hopefully, to the sages, it does not create attachments. It's a natural state. Okay? I will stop at those two differences. If you want, I could write an expose on the many more differences, but this is not a scholarly thing. the difference between, in going back to slide 843, that the catalyst, going back to the question and the matter in discussion, the catalyst is that someone teaches you how to do it. When Buddha was alive, it was him who taught his disciples. Now, if you want to experience the change from suffering, from confusion to peace and bliss, you need the best way. It's right here on slide 843. The best way is to have someone who has done it already. We're not talking about themselves. I'm talking about someone who has shown people already how to do it, who has a track record of showing people how to do it. And many of his students or her students have been able to do that because that's the story behind Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha. He came to the world and he taught and trained so many of his disciples to experience the peace and the bliss of the sages, including who? Peace and joy, celestial king. And so that's why this disciple of his, peace and joy, peace and bliss, actually peace and bliss, celestial king, see? He's a sage. His name itself says he's a sage already. Change peace and joy to peace and bliss, please. Okay? Peace and bliss, celestial king. In his name right there tells you that he is a sage. He experiences peace and bliss constantly. I'm looking at XY2, and she's disagreeing with me violently. She's been shaking her head. No. And I'm going to pretend to be a sage and not be bothered by that. My confidence is a little bit shaken because it's, no. The whole time I've been talking, since the Caucasian person who asked the question till now, she keeps on shaking. You see, and she hasn't stopped, no matter what I say. The disagreement is so profound. Look at that. See that? But it doesn't bother me. I don't think. Okay? So, yes, JMT, you guys ask such probing and penetrating questions, and your answers are most excellent. Yes, JMT.
들리세요?
안녕하세요, 주미.
들리세요? 안 들리세요? 네. 마스터께서 좀 전에 설명하셨던 그 다시요. 그러니까 좀 전에 그 보라산원의 어떤 분이 범부와 성인의 안락함의 차이에 대해서 마스터께서 이제 부연 설명해 주시면서 나왔던 내용이 오늘 올라왔던 상옥 스님 그 반야신경 내용이랑 좀 접목이 돼서 질문하게 됐고요. 네. 한번 끊을게요.
So, Master, the reason I'm talking about this is because the person Isungnam asked a question about difference between sages and then ordinary people, and that reminds the Har Sutra that Sangok Snim uploaded into the internet.
Yes, she translated it. Mm-hmm.
네. 이제 오늘 그 내용이 뭐였냐면 제가 예전부터 궁금했던 건데 제가 조계종에 다닐 때 유식을 배울 때 파트너 배우자를 찾는 조건이 시각이 아니라 촉각이라는 얘기를 들었었어요. 네, 한번 끊을게요. 촉각이요, 촉각. 죄송해요. 후각이었어요. 말 잘못했어요. 냄새로 그러니까 시각적으로 파트너나 상대를 찾는 게 아니라 냄새, 후각으로. 네, 맞아요. 네네, 유식이요. 유식학.
Master, I remember that I was learning about about how to find a partner, and then what they suggest is not finding partner by the eyes or views, rather find a partner with your smell sense.
근데 이제 오늘 올라왔던 상욱 스님의 그 반야심경에 어떤 부분이 있었냐면 냄새가 속박의 문을 연다라고 표현을 했거든요. 그러니까 얼핏 생각하면 시각 때문에 우리가 어떤 속박이나 집착이나 번뇌가 생긴다고 생각을 했거든요. 저 같은 경우는. 예, 그래서 제가 질문 드리는 거는 시각이 아니라 후각이 마스터께서 말씀하신 대로 속박의 문을 여는 연유가 있는 건지, 어떤 차이가 있는 건지, 왜 집착을 그게 더 만드는 건지가 질문이에요. 그게 궁금해요. 네.
So when we think about seeing, it's I believe that there is some kind of afflictions and obsession, attachment that we are created. But about the smell sense, is it also from the Heart Sutra? There was explanation that the smelling itself also create attachment. So please explain about this, how the smell causes attachment.
얼핏 생각하면 시각일 것 같거든요. 근데 이제 그게 후각이 더 집착이나 그런 번뇌의 문을 여는 게 무엇인지 제가 질문드립니다.
So I thought would it be seeing sense would it be more stronger for creating attachment, but why the smelling sense is creating more stronger attachment.
Very good. Let's have the WMT camera pan to Sangwok Sunim. I haven't seen her the whole Chanchi. What happened to her? I position her, I park her downstairs, down south, for her to anchor the cheese. But, that's the first time I see her. Sangwok Sunim, you can provide the answer.
As I understand, Master said the seeing
My fault?
and the touching and the smelling both creating our attachment. So this section especially you explained about the smelling thing. So I think both the seeing and smelling, they create attachment.
And is there a solution? So what do we do about it? That's what Jumi is asking.
Recognize and let it go.
Recognize and let go. There you go, Jumi. That's your answer. 감사합니다. Okay, very good. Keep up the good work. I see you soon. Okay? All right. That's... Oh no, Wei Mao still has a question.
So I wanted to say something about what you were saying, the ordinary people's pleasure and the sage's pleasure. See, I think, there's two distinct types of happiness. I guess you could say one is like pleasure, one is like real happiness. And they're really independent of each other, and they can even be conflicting. So right now, when I'm sitting full lotus, it's very displeasurable, unpleasurable, but on the inside, I feel happy. And then let's say I eat a bag of hot Cheetos when I'm supposed to be on a diet, that would make me on the inside unhappy, but then it would be pleasurable. Right?
First of all, we don't have a commercial relationship with Cheetos, so we need to not mention names. Just kidding. Okay.
Yeah, we moved on from that, so I just wanted to say that. I was going to say that earlier.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so there's still a K YouTube comment.
네, 윤애선님 코멘트입니다. 자비심과 선을 추구하는 마음을 잃지 않을 때 변화의 순간을 붙잡을 수 있다고 믿습니다.
So this comment is from Yoon Sun.
Mm-hmm.
So she's saying, this is about the moment of change. I believe seeking compassion and goodness will bring a moment of change.
All right, that works as well. Okay, let me summarize, because I'm very pleased that we can discuss it thoroughly, and your viewpoints are very, very good. Okay, it adds more and more to the tableau, this complete solution here. The point here, to summarize it all for you, what is a change element? The change element, as pointed out in our discussion, those many comments, is that you have a teacher who is skilled at teaching you how to do it. And this is an emphasis in the Mahayana. And for example, it's about getting you to do it. Unless you do something, you will not be able to enter the door of the Dharma nature. See, the name right there is so clear. The door, meaning it's right there by itself. Okay? And unless you enter through that door, nothing's going to happen. When you enter through the door, that's when you discover the world of peace and bliss. If you don't enter through the door and you only sit there and talk about it, that's what I call sophistry. You keep on talking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Then you'll never experience that peace and bliss. So it takes two things. The catalyst or the change element is that someone, tells you what to do, and then you, because you have enough blessings, you choose to do it yourself. Then you will experience it. Is it clear? Does it help? Okay? And so what is its door of the Dharma nature? Whatever, all the instructions that make you do things in order, if you follow those instructions, you will experience peace and bliss. Okay? Whether it's enduring pain, from crossing your legs, enduring the cold. When you're in Wei Mountain Temple, you can see the Sangguk Sunim put on another layer outside already, and after the lights are turned out, they're turned off, she'll put another layer, because it will be a little bit even colder. Unless she shakes like the one who disagrees with me the whole time here, right here, DTT. When you disagree with me, you're much warmer than if you didn't shake. So whatever helps your cause, I'm for it. Master is not a sage, but I'm open-minded. And so that's what it takes, you see. So those are the requirements. So if you're somehow decide to follow the instructions of the Buddha or a good no advisor, or from you read from a book and you do it, okay, from a book that you read, like from Master YongHua, from these sages and these sagely teachers, you will experience peace and bliss yourself. And that's the change elements. That's the catalyst, if you will. Yes, one.
Master, can we say that is the faith? Because only the faith that allow you to drop whatever you are doing and then just follow the instruction of the good no advisor.
Yeah, now you add more, another element of it, more details about what is a catalyst. The catalyst is basically you need to do as instructed. And for people to do as instructed is because they believe. They trust. Maybe that don't even need to talk about belief, but they trust the instructions. And not necessarily because the teachers is a sage or anything, but maybe they trust instruction because the instruction could come from their peers in the community. They knew and they said, I don't know about this master. He doesn't even understand Chinese. You understand Chinese. You've been here long enough. What is it you do to experience peace and bliss? So it's not just faith, but they trust someone. Faith is deeper. Okay, you don't need to have faith. You just have to trust someone and enough for you to give it a try. The key is that whatever it takes to make you give it a try, unless you try it, you will not experience peace and bliss. This is what happens to the typical Buddhist disciples. They're more interested in reading texts, okay? And they devour texts about the scriptures. They read about all sorts of sutras in different traditions or denominations, and they enjoy it intellectually. All right? And for those people, unless they experience, if they do that, they experience peace and bliss to a small amount, but it doesn't change. Okay? So they're better off following and attending lectures, for example, or reading or listening to a YouTube video of Master YongHua and so forth, of the sages who speaks Dharma and talks about the doors of the Dharma nature. By merely listening to YouTube there, they will experience greater peace and bliss. So it's about doing. You understand? All we can do is provide more and more excuses for people to follow instructions and to listen to the proper sutras, the proper teachings. Because in our lecture, for example, you notice, for example, that for many people, they can sit for 2 hours in full lotus. When they come to our lecture, they can barely sit for half an hour. Okay? It's because they're constantly distracted and laughing and joking around and being bothered by this and that. So that's part, of doing as well. Okay? If they endure that and they're willing to put up with that, all of a sudden the peace and bliss grows bigger. Okay, so even lectures, listening to lectures, attending lectures like this, like many of you are doing here tonight, actually is a catalyst for your experiencing more peace and more bliss. Or plant the seeds for you to experience more peace and more bliss. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Hi, Master Emitofuo. In addition to believing, would it be as well having a good intention? I have noticed that I check on my intention and then something opens up, and then sometimes I'm able to have like the answers or the guidance. Will that be as well?
Yeah, what you're referring to is that a method, the door right there. The door is for you to do contemplations, to cross your legs. So that's the method. All right? When you cross your legs and you follow the Chan instructions, you meditate, that's when these experience will manifest in a form of peace and more bliss. Okay? What did you say? We couldn't hear the sound.
Thank you, Master.
You're welcome. Okay, anyone else? Did we answer the question to the original pale-faced person?
We can't hear Peter.
Ni hao.
Yeah, we can hear Peter now.
Now we can hear. In the future, we can have a person who can read lips. Continue.
감사합니다.
Okay.
I think maybe I can say back what I understand the answer to be, and then see if it was answered. The catalyst, as I understand it, is someone who is submerged would find a good knowing advisor and be willing to take direction.
Yeah, sounds good. But very few people are willing to do that, unfortunately. Okay? And that's life. JMT.
뭐 저의 경우일지 모르겠지만 반드시 믿음이 있어야만 인스트럭션을 따를 수 있는 건 아니거든요. 선지식의 인스트럭션이 이해가 되고 납득이 되면 제가 선지식 레벨이게요. 네. 지침과 선지식의 그러니까 인스트럭션이 납득이 되고 이해가 되지 않는다는 거죠. 저희 밑에 레벨에서는 당연히. 네. 네네.
It might be my case, but I don't think it's necessarily the faith. Understanding and accepting sages' teaching is difficult in a lower level.
그러니까 믿음이 있어야만 인스트럭션을 따를 수 있는 건 아니고 오히려 인스트럭션이 있고 복이 있어서 인스트럭션을 따른 후에 이행한 이후에 저 같은 경우는 믿음의 마일리지가 쌓였던 것 같아요. 네.
So in my case, it was it's not the faith did not bring following the instructions. It's more a blessing, and with that, I follow the instruction, and then my faith become deeper.
지금 말씀하시는 거대로라면 파트리샤랑 제가 의견이 같은데 선지식의 인스트럭션과 블레싱이 가장 중요한 촉진제고 중요한 요소라고 생각합니다. 이상입니다.
I'm in the same line with Patricia. I believe the good knowing advisor's instruction and blessing will bring the good result.
Excellent. Okay, very good. Let's move on to the next. Oh, YouTube has a question, but hang on. Can we make a correction here as long we are discussing this to death? That's modify the English and make it more accurate for the future generation, the future readers. You should read it as peace and bliss. can thus see upon contemplating it. You see, it's quite different from what this translation. The original translation is too loose. It's very precise. It's the Chinese text says that that's what he's able to see upon reflecting, upon contemplating this matter. Okay? It's quite different from the current translation because it specifically spells out how he's able to see it, because he sees it, meaning he certifies it. He verifies it for us, meaning like you, when you follow the door of the Dharma nature, you experience peace and bliss yourself. So you tell your acquaintances, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. That's confirmation. That's certification from you. And that's why our community keeps growing and growing, because you certify these things yourself. You say, I experienced this myself. And that's the best certification. Okay? For this guy, he uses contemplation skills, because meaning he uses chant, and he says, he wants to say, how does a Buddha do it? To change people from being submerged, being confused in doing evil things and suffering so much, to get them to become sages. Okay, dokie? Yes, in the back.
Master, is it can thus be seen or thus see upon contemplating?
Can thus see upon contemplating. Contemplating it. Contemplating this, okay? And that's what the Chinese says, right? You Chinese people, you Korean people, that's what it says. It's not can see upon, reflect this, whatever, that's nonsense. It's very precise. He says he can not only see this, he could only see this because he contemplated, meaning there's a contemplation skill that he developed. So that's very important information. Okay, sounds good? Yes, YouTube question.
There's a couple more suggestions for the catalyst. Vicky Sprout says, I think the trigger is having blessings in the right conditions. And Diego says, Amitofuo Master, I think the goodness of your heart plays an important role as well, as it lets you follow instructions from your good knowing advisor.
True.
And we also have a question from Robin's Nest. Amitofuo Master, it may sound unrelated, but I have a question about the Pure Land Dharma door. Earlier, you confirmed that there's a great likelihood that we encountered the Dharma in prior lives. However, that being said, is this perhaps our first life being introduced to the Pure Land Dharma? I would think otherwise we would already have gone to the Pure Land.
Yeah, that's a good point. Otherwise, you've gone to Pure Land. But on the other hand, you may have gone to Pure Land. Maybe you send back here to save your current boyfriend. And then after you dump him, save the next one. Okay? As you never know. Like God, Buddha works in mysterious ways. Thank you for your input. You are the coolest dude and dudettes I know. Okay, we have 9 more minutes. Okay, we don't want to waste Rushu's kids' time. They're here, and we want to help them learn more about Mahayana with half an ear. Rare is thus come one's great kindness and compassion to benefit sentient beings. He enters all realms of existence.
如来稀有大慈悲，为利众生入诸有。
Okay, very good. The thus come one is one of the 10 names of the Buddha. Okay, so thus come one is just the Buddha. And he has great kindness and compassion, meaning in this entire universe, he is the kindest and most compassionate person. That is something else, let me tell you. And as you practice, your kindness and compassion keeps growing and growing and growing until it's the same as the Buddha's kindness and compassion. That tells you you're on the right path. Okay? It's not about knowing more. It's not about being more famous or having a big temple and having a lot of disciples, a lot of money. Ultimately, now I have another person who disagrees with me as well in the back. And she shakes her head too. Okay? I'm not doing well tonight at DTT. I don't know how Master Z can take it. It's these people, these characters here, they are very direct. Okay? And this person, second person here, purposely follows me from Go Force to show her disagreement again. Okay, and so we are not Buddhas yet, but as you follow this path here, okay, you see that your heart is kinder and more compassionate, and you see that more people in this that you meet here at the temple or online in this community are kinder and more compassionate. That's a right path. And the verse here at 845, slide 845 says, this is very rare to be able to see it. Very much like you may not be able to see the Buddha's rare kindness and compassion, but your kindness and compassion is very rare indeed. How's that? Because look, people around you can't care less about others. This is America after all. We only care about ourselves. Okay, okay? So it's very rare to find others who are so kind and so compassionate, and they're kinder and more compassionate as they practice. Okay, okay? Next, to benefit sentient beings, he enters all realms of existence. This is, just for the technical jargon so that you are not easily impressed by people who will come and throw jargons at you. Realms of existence meaning that when living beings are born into our Saha worlds, okay, the Buddha basically says there if you look at them, you can differentiate them into 25 different realms, different strata, if you will, okay, different levels, if you will. And the lowest levels among the 25 are the three evil paths of hells, hungry ghosts, and animals. That's 3 out of 25. So the Buddha, it says here, the Buddha is willing to enter all the realms in order to help living beings out of kindness and compassion. Isn't that cool? Look at how big his heart is. It doesn't matter where living beings are, even in the worst places, 25 realms, meaning one of them, some realms are in the heavens, okay? Heavenly realms where they're very happy, and yet Buddhas are still willing to enter those realms because he sees them. When he sees them suffering, like even in the heavens, there will be a time where most of the time, they're very, very happy, very blissful, very pleasurable, lots of joy, lots of peace, and lots of bliss. Okay, they really enjoy themselves up there in the heavens. And men, the women are incredibly beautiful. And men are incredibly handsome. They have a good time in the heavens, okay? And they only know, and many of you have thought, I like to go. Yeah, on vacation, you can. But you don't want to go there permanently, because at the end, when their heavenly blessings come to an end, because like down here in a Saha world, in human realm, heavenly beings, they have a lifespan. They can live up, for example, to in the second desire heaven of where the Christian God is. They live to be about 9 billion years, human years. We live to be about 100 years or less, okay? So for them, it's 9 billion years. But the end of their lifespans up there, 9 billion years, after around 9 billion years, they begin, their heavenly blessings run out and they will die. And before they die, they experience the 5 signs of decay, and it's unbearable to them. And that's when Buddha realizes that, and he would show up to the heavens and speak Dharma to them to help them deal with their sufferings. So Buddha is extremely kind, extremely compassionate. He's very patient. He waits and waits and waits until he has an opportunity to show his kindness and compassion. You see, that's what you should be thinking about. When you learn all these things, you go home, okay? Don't try to help so fast and tell them, honey, I learned so much the last 2 weeks at the temple. Let me tell you what I learned. No, shut up. Okay? Just say, honey, I'm so glad I'm back. Oh, I miss you so much. I brought you back some chocolate. And I found this place, this pizza place in the city. And so forth. Have a normal life. Don't make a big deal out of everything. And then the lesson, the point I'm trying to make here is, don't try to help them until they suffer, until they ask for help. And that's what Buddhas too do. They know, they watch us, and they say, it's having a good time, no problem, enjoy yourself. But when you suffer, and then you can't take it anymore, and then Buddha would show up and say, how would you like me to help you? Would you like me to teach you how to deal with this unbearable situation? Boys and girls, learn from a Buddha. Patiently wait. Don't try to help people before they ask. Okay. Don't get a big head now. Don't go home, especially you newcomers. Oh, I learned so much. I feel so peaceful and blissful. You tell them about it, your family members about it, they have no idea. They said, that's nice, honey. Can you get me a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon, Mueller High Life, or Modelo? Okay? No. Speak about, don't try to tell them, impose your knowledge and your wisdom upon them until they ask. Okay. And that's all we have time for today. Next time, we will go to 847, the second half of the Gatha. Thank you, everyone. I hope you will become enlightened soon. Don't be like me. I'm still submerged and suffering. I hope you will experience peace and bliss of the sages. Okay? Like many of your peers. Thank you and good night.